is Monday, October 2nd. It is 5:58 PM, 2 minutes before 6, but we're gonna get started 2 minutes early. And we'll call the meeting to order. Roll call is Renee O'Donnell, Brian Carlisle, Skip Smith, and Cindy Grant. We are all present and accounted for. Public comment. Anybody have any public comment? Nope. We got 3 people here. I guess we're all set. So first, the warrants. Want me to just read these, you guys, like we always do?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have AP warrant number 17 for $100,609.99. AP warrant number 25 for $270,629.93. AP warrant number 26 for $1,799.50. PY warrant number 27 for $3,985.75. AP warrant number 28 for $2,376. AP warrant number 29 for $955. AP warrant number 30 for $208,943.05. I'd like to make a motion that we accept the warrants as written.
Second.
All in favor? 3-0. The minutes, did you guys read the minutes?
I have not.
Do you want to put them on till next
If
week?
you don't mind.
To next month, sure. You okay with that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so we'll take them, the
Another
same
month
minutes.
isn't gonna make much of a difference.
No, they're old minutes, we're probably all caught up now, aren't we?
We are.
We're all caught up. So I'll make a motion that we table these until the next meeting.
Second.
All in favor? 3-0. All set. So, department reports. Fire Chief Ralph Shaw. How are you, Ralph?
Oh, that's good.
Good?
I had 4 calls we responded to this month. Variety. We had fire alarm, tree in the roadway roll over, and we had a camper that fell on a person over in Carmel.
Oh, jeez.
We was canceled the route for that. They got him out
Okay.
before we got to that. So
Where was the tree in the roadway?
that was over on North County Road.
Oh, okay.
Over in the swampy area, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We started having meetings and trainings last month. We had three so far that we've had. They're gonna be every Tuesday night from now on. So,
Okay.
He got a good burn going tomorrow night.
Yep.
Boy, a couple of guys I talked to today took my lawnmower up there and mowed it down.
Yep.
They
yep.
seemed quite excited about it.
What are you burning?
Oh, just some pallets and stuff like
Oh.
that. Just,
You know that big trail the Glen hauled, it's down behind the salt shed.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Glen run it out from the base
yeah.
probably 10 years ago. We've only used it. Well, when I was on the fire department, we only used it 3 times.
Yeah.
But it's a hell of a training tool,
Oh, good. Oh, good.
especially for guys that haven't.
Use the air packs and stuff like that?
yeah, they'll get the guys acclimated with the new assistant chief and get some training with him
Good,
so they get used to him a little bit.
good.
Be good for that, for sure. So, we put in for a grant with Rescue for keyboards, and they put in for some chairs and some stuff like that.
Yeah,
We put in for a flammable cabinet as well for the fire station.
okay.
we're
Do you want one that will burn or doesn't burn?
Yeah.
It says a flammable cabinet.
Yeah.
There you go, right there. Toss that one.
Yeah. So, and we're still currently holding at 8 members right now.
Okay.
And we're still working on the forestry grant. I think we're gonna end up going with the radios and pages, but we're still doing some research on that.
Okay.
So,
Did you guys get all the radios and pagers back?
All but one, I believe.
yep, I believe there's,
No, we have one pager,
right.
and,
I think
trying to think what was the other one.
And there's one more page that's out as well, so.
Can we send those people letters?
Again,
Can we do that?
we sent them letters, but I'm thinking maybe certified
Yeah,
This
I'm gonna
time,
have to
that
upgrade
they
a
got
little bit this
delivery of
time.
them.
Right, and, is there anything we could say, like, we need the pagers back, or you can pay for the pager if you wanna
Yeah.
keep it?
Maybe something like that.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, we've paid a lot of money for the pagers and to have them programmed and
Yeah,
all those
Yeah.
things, so. Let's send out a couple more letters.
How long before they're gonna be outdated? I thought that's, was a topic of conversation at the point, but
Oh,
weren't you going into a new, you had
Yeah,
something on your cell phone?
So the model pager that we have, except for the ones Chief Shaw just recently purchased, are no longer made and they can't readily find parts for them.
Right,
So the one or couple that are out there are obsolete, but they still function,
yeah,
because everybody's still using them.
so, can you write grants for new pages, or what's the next thing for, in the way of pages?
Yeah, that's what we're putting, I think that's what I'm gonna do with the forestry grant,
Right,
to get 4 more, and then that'll give us 8 new ones, so.
oh, okay, alright.
and then I
and then you
think
can just change
Penobscot,
the channel.
doesn't Michelle have some sort of grant that comes around once a year that is mainly for radios and pagers? It's the same one I got for, I believe, we got for the shelter stuff, and I got that radio out there.
I think you're referring to the emergency management, it's EAMPAG or something
Yeah.
like that, but all those funds have really dried up.
Yeah,
I don't think that even goes around.
Well, if we
anymore.
can, when you do a grant for 4 pages, they give you the money for 4 pages, or do we kick in, is it half
it's a
50/50?
matching,
Yeah,
right.
that one's a matching grant, so it'll be, I don't know if they buy 4 and we buy 4, how that's gonna,
Right,
I'm still doing the research on it, I'm not
okay.
100% sure how
Yeah,
that one goes. It's
Okay,
a little funny because it's a state type thing.
right, right.
But if your question, I don't mean to, Chief, but if your question was sort of asking about the need for returning the equipment, getting the equipment back, I think it is important that we, go as far as you possibly feel comfortable going with, because the equipment is still usable
Right,
as far as we know, when it was
yeah.
Right.
still in use,
One of the people has a, vehicle mounted radio, I believe, and then a handheld radio and a pager.
okay.
Okay, so like a vehicle, I'm not sure what kind of radio it is,
I don't
but,
either.
that's $1,500 worth of equipment between those 3 pieces of
Yeah.
equipment.
Yeah, so,
Yeah, bring this back,
Yeah.
if it,
exactly,
go buy a scanner if you want to listen to radio calls.
right. Anything else, Rob?
Nope, I think that's it for now.
Okay. Awesome. Chris?
Has everybody had a chance to read over the report I submitted?
Yes.
Okay, so just in addition to that report, just to report that Tom and I will be fitted for our turnout gear tomorrow evening. We've purchased 2 sets of gear using the MMA grant that was awarded last year, so that returns 2/3 of the funding back to us.
Okay,
And we're only 2 people are being fit, so when the next set of gear is purchased, the next group of people will be fit and will be fit most correctly for them at that time.
okay. All right. Okay, anybody else got any questions for us? Okay. Hi Gary,
Hi there.
how are you tonight?
Good.
Good. How's the library?
Quiet.
Quiet, okay. Anything else you want to tell us?
We're gonna have a book sale Saturday,
Okay.
next Saturday.
Oh. Book sale next Saturday, the 8th. Is that the 8th or the 7th?
7th.
7th,
Seven?
right? 7th. Okay. And you could probably always use volunteers.
Oh, yeah,
Okay. Is that it?
that's it.
Okay. Thank you. You're up, Cindy.
I gave you bank reconciliation for August
Yes.
and the expense, general ledger and revenues reports for September. Do you have any questions?
No, I don't really have any questions. I did go through them to the best of my limited ability.
Okay.
And,
I was just gonna say, I went through them in the best of my ability.
I went last Thursday morning to the infamous AFG workshop for the AFG grant, which is the Assistant to Firefighter Grant, which is a federal grant. I couldn't believe the guy was really good, and we've been doing a lot of stuff wrong submitting that grant.
Okay.
I
This
will-
is the class you wanted to go to
last year that.
No one
yes.
told you existed?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I went to that, it was 2.5 hours, but the guy was really good about how particular you have to be. I know, for example, I know the grants that have been submitted for the town over the last 2 or 3 years have been submitted under the Newburgh Volunteer Fire Department.
Mhm.
But the SAM's registration, which is the federal registration for the town, and what they call the DUNS number is our federal ID number, are both under the town of Newburgh. And the first thing he said, because the applications are first evaluated by a machine,
Okay.
and that machine evaluates that information. And if what they have on file in that machine and what's on that application don't match, it doesn't even make it in to be seen by a human.
Yeah.
So, first off the
So
bat,
we've
I
been
knew
good.
you've been wasting our time because we've been putting them under the Newburgh Volunteer Fire Department,
Right.
and our registration and all of the information through the federal government is registered under the town of Newburgh.
Right.
Well, luckily, you don't have to do that anymore.
So our next one I learned a lot.
There is no
you
more
know,
volunteer fire department.
It's not like any of the other grants that we do,
Right.
with general, and they'll call and say this, they don't call. They get a question, if the panel questions anything on that,
Out it goes.
done.
No kidding. Okay.
So,
So you gotta be meticulous when you're filling
you
it out.
do, you have to make sure.
You're glad you went to the class.
You can't leave any questions for them when it comes to them reading your application.
Right.
You have to make sure that everything is answered and accounted for.
So let me ask you this. What's the time, are you going to submit an application, or
Well-
what's the time frame? What's your intention there?
The application opens, I believe, this month, or just opened, and I think they have to be submitted by the end of the month.
Oh, I see.
So I have it and working on it, and I'll have to get with Chris and
Well,
Ralph again to discuss. But trucks, they do trucks.
you can get a grant toward a truck.
You can get a grant, and the most that a town would pay would be 15%. There's different things that you can get. You can get trucks, you can get buildings, you can get a lot of different stuff.
Wow.
I know that this town, for the last 3 times it's been submitted, they submitted for SCBA's. And I learned that if, we have, I think is it 2013 was the last round of SCBA?
I believe so,
Yeah.
something like that.
So if you have 2013 SCBA's and you submit for 2013 SCBA's, chances are you're not gonna get it.
Mm.
If you have 2003, which is the last one prior to the newest one, because this is nationwide. I mean, it's all over the United States. It's not just the state of Maine applying for this. It's very
Oh, I see.
competitive.
Yeah.
So you really have to have, a
You're-
good sob story to go along with your application as to what you need, why you need it, and you have to make it out that you need it a lot more than
The
this,
next person. the
this
next
fire
time.
department in
Right.
Arizona,
Oh,
you
you ought
know?
to be able to do that.
Oh, yeah, right.
Dire straight here.
Yeah, but it was very, I appreciated the class because, like I said, it, you know, I got a better understanding of what those people want,
Good.
you know, so,
Well, at least it puts us in the, headed, at least
Yeah.
we can get through the initial
right.
phase.
And Lisa Brown is
Right.
gonna help us and stuff, and, you know, the narrative on the ones we've done has just been, oh, Newburgh's this town, and we have this population, and this is what we do. They don't wanna hear, they wanna hear about that, but they wanna hear in that narrative, you know, what do you want, and why do you want it?
Right.
And not just to replace,
We need a grant for,
you know, not to replace, you know, for example, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ralph, one of our in-service trucks, the two, is a truck that not many can drive,
Right, exactly, yep.
okay? So for example, if we were gonna go for a truck,
oh, wait a minute, why can't they drive it?
because of the type of, you gotta be a special driver
Just
and,
the transmission in it.
You said, was it like a regular truck driver, truck?
Yeah,
it's
but the
got a-
transmission's touchy.
It's got a 9-speed,
A 9-speed.
yeah.
so I mean,
It's just-
Where
Familiar with
most
that.
departments buy automatic trucks because anybody can jump in and drive,
Sure, yeah,
okay?
okay.
So that's, to me, if I was to put one in for a truck,
Well, that's an
we,
issue.
we have a 35-year-old truck that isn't, you know, useful.
Right,
It's an open cab and you really can't use it for anything. This truck here is probably, what, 15, 16 years old. Both of the other ones are in that area, 15, 16 years old. The second one is a standard transmission that, you know, we're very limited on drivers that can operate it, you
Right.
know, that sort of thing is what they wanna see in the.
9-speed CDL type transmission.
Yeah, that's what they wanna see in those applications. You
Yeah.
tell us, you know, you're worse off than this guy over here and we'll
Right.
give you the money. But,
Okay.
you know, if we were to go for a truck, I mean, that would be a good scenario to put
Right.
forward,
Right.
that, you know, we're down to a, pretty much one truck.
they
Right.
also want you to show that it benefits surrounding areas, you know.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, well, we're in a very rural area,
Yeah.
considering Dixon and Carmel and.
Yeah, the other thought I had was the forestry truck. I mean, the forestry truck's in pretty bad shape as far as usefulness and
Right.
replacement parts, and it's breaking down all the time, and, you know, and they do the forestry trucks, they do all trucks, so. That might be an idea, so.
Okay, great.
But,
I'd buy that, about put it on my lawn.
you know what the idea was for the old, is it 491?
Mhm.
You know, and to cut the cab off and box it in down there and use it to pump out of the pump house.
Yeah,
Speaking of pump house,
Okay, so I wanted to ask a couple of questions. You guys mentioned, I went at it once about replacing the pump house down here.
yes,
And I priced out a building, I think it was between $1,500 and $2,000
okay,
for an insulated building.
okay.
The hard part is those storage buildings don't come wired for electricity.
Mhm.
They don't come with the slab included, they don't come with a lot of stuff, we'd have to haul the pump out, put the pump back in. So, I don't know, you know, do you want me to go out and get prices for all that? Cause we really don't have it in the budget, you get up into.
I remember we carried about $2,000 for a building though, right?
Yes,
Okay, so we have that in the budget,
yes, we've spent some of it, yes.
okay. I'm thinking we could, since Newburgh is the concrete capital of the world, we could probably get a slab, like a 12 by 14 slab donated somehow.
Yeah, but the building has to be,
But wired, how extensive, I mean, is it an expensive wiring situation?
well, they have a
Down
heater in it. It's
Yeah.
got a heater, and I don't think they'd redo the heater, because the heater's so old, and it's actually one of them dial ones, electric.
Electric.
most efficient thing.
Yeah, so we don't have money in the budget for like a new electric heater, is that what you're saying?
I don't believe so. Depends on the price and depends how big it is. That's what the new pump doesn't need heat, does it? The new one that you got, cause that's gas, right?
It's gas, but as long as they drain it every time, they'll have to make sure
Oh,
it's
yeah,
totally
Yeah.
drained.
Yeah, that's true, blow it out and.
yeah.
Right.
You ought to have some heat in there or something.
Yeah.
How,
I mean, I'll go out and get
Do you
it,
have
you
a
guys gotta think about where we're gonna pay for it.
right,
'cause
do
you're
you,
gonna
do you have
start
a
getting-
recommendation for a kind of heater? I mean, if you come across this situation anywhere else?
Not really. Everybody else has them in their station, so
Right.
it's integrated into the same
Right,
building. It's, I would say you wouldn't need nothing real extravagant, because you only keep it at above freezing, so I
Right.
mean, it doesn't have to be 60 degree, 60,
Right.
70 degrees, just
Right.
enough to keep it from slushing
and
up.
probably a new one would be a lot more economical.
Efficient, yeah.
It's,
So do you want me to go ahead and, cause we're gonna, I mean, we'd have to have it wired,
Right,
but if they insulate it before it comes here,
mm-hmm,
so my thought is to get just the shed, because the one that I priced out was with spray foam insulation, which we really probably can't do, and then try to wire it. We could do the floor in spray foam.
Well, if you, I don't know the electrical code that well, but I mean, I think you can do conduit.
right. You can
External.
drill through it and put a conduit through it and
Okay.
run your wire through the conduit is what I'm thinking.
Right.
I wonder if the trade schools do any work anymore outside their school classrooms.
I don't know.
They do.
That's a good idea.
UTC is actually doing the new snack shack for Reedsburg Middle School,
No kidding.
because they're looking for a donated slab over there too. But that's what she said, that UTC was, actually their kids were gonna be building the actual building. And then
Do they
Eastern
have,
Maine Community College, I
Right.
don't know what they do.
I would say, I wonder if Eastern Maine Community College actually has kids who would like wanna do some electrical.
And some concrete and some
Yeah.
building and,
I'll call them and find out.
yeah.
It doesn't hurt to, my feeling is it doesn't hurt to ask. It
Yep,
doesn't hurt to look into it, it doesn't hurt to get pricing.
okay,
And if we can make it happen, let's make it happen,
all right.
you know?
Call Austin too, see what stick building would cost it.
I did that last time, and he
Okay.
said it'd cost you twice with me than it would to go
Yeah.
get one of those. And I only went to this place for the prefab ones, but there's a place, on my way home, and I think it's the Amish are doing those ones that are all the same color out to like the Bangor Mall. Have you seen them out in back of the Bangor Mall?
Yeah.
I
Well,
haven't
there's
seen
all kinds by Pizza Hut over in Brewer too, in their parking
it.
lot.
Oh,
And I think it's the Amish that are making them.
you wouldn't need much of a heater if you spray foamed that though, would you?
No, I mean,
I mean, all it has to be is 45, 50 degrees,
right.
but it just has to be safe, a
Yeah.
safe electrical heater.
Okay.
I don't know, would somebody, like, could somebody give you a recommendation on that? Just wondering if you could buy it offline.
I'll ask Will.
There's a website, Northern Tool.
Yeah.
Sometimes I look in there for stuff. I don't buy from them very much, but they got all kinds of heaters.
Okay.
What are you laughing about? It's my favorite website, Northern Tool.
There's a building up by the fire station we might be able to move down.
How about that audit next?
Did you get a chance to look at the draft?
I looked at it in my limited capability, yes. I did have, hold on a minute. I did. What was I gonna ask them? I thought something earlier. Has she come back with any other questions for you?
No, I actually have a couple. I called her today, but we kind of played phone tag, on, the carried forwards that she has on page 18. She didn't include the remaining 600 and some odd dollars for the sand shed, which, by the way, is finished. He stopped today and the black is now silver evidently.
He's
So-
100% done.
He's done.
Okay.
So that wasn't there, and I almost think I know what this is, but, there was a couple of, on 19, I'm gonna ask her about, the positive, the parentheses on a couple of these revenues. I'm not sure what they are, so. And then the very last thing I'm going to ask her is, on the last, next to the last page, she has, on page 24, she has, our trust funds. And a couple of years ago, the auditor, I thought, put both of them in, because we have Knowlton School Trust Fund, and we have the Bickford Trust Fund, which I don't totally understand, but we get checks every year for revenue from those trust funds that are held by, one is held by Bank of America and one is held by Community Foundation. She's showing the Knowlton Fund, and which is correct, because the 10,987.31 expenditures is the money they send us.
Right.
This money isn't held by us at all. We don't see this principal.
The basic, the.
Yeah, the
yes.
231,000.
And the other one, the 53,372, right,
The
those.
building
those-
fund we have.
The building fund.
Right.
yeah.
The Knowlton School Fund, we don't have those funds. They send us the revenue from those funds
Right.
every year.
Okay,
The Town Woodlot Fund we have. But we have a Bickford Trust that is the same as this Knowlton Trust. It's money held by another organization and they just disperse the revenue from it every year to us. We get Bickford Roads and Bickford Schools,
right,
and then we get Knowlton School Funds as part of our revenue. And I just wanna find out why she doesn't have the Bickford, or if it's
in
never
this
been,
list.
yes.
Okay, all right.
So, but other than that, I didn't see anything. So what did you have?
I can't remember, to be honest with you. It was something in the written area. Can we put it on the agenda again for next month?
Yep.
With the minutes?
Yep.
You can look at it, just take
Yeah.
some time to look at it again.
Just keep in mind, until you guys accept it, we don't get a final one.
I know, reverse the meeting again this month if you guys want to.
Have another meeting?
Yeah.
Sure, one of those morning meetings?
Mm.
Yeah, that would be great. Because I'd like to read this a little bit
Yeah.
more. Then, if you want to pick a date or wait till the end, or,
I don't care.
how about you? You all set with that?
Yeah,
Having
fine.
like a morning
Morning
meeting?
meeting like you did, yeah, sure. And then concentrate on just that.
Yeah, I can concentrate on just the audit, and if you guys read the minutes and we can pass the
Right,
minutes.
yeah.
Yeah. Let's pick a date right now then. We'll just pause here for a minute. Wednesday's better for you, okay, so, let me see what. Wednesday, the 11th, we have emergency management training. That's in the evening, but Wednesday, the 18th, either one of those work for you?
Yep, yep.
Would you wanna do it, 11th would be next Wednesday, obviously. Do you wanna do it next
Pick
Wednesday?
Either one, I'm good, whatever
Do
you
you
guys.
have, do you want next Wednesday? Was that too
Wednesday,
soon?
I have no schedule.
Oh, no, you don't. God bless you. Well, let's do Wednesday the 11th
This is
then.
my excitement for that day.
At what time?
Guys, I'll let you do that. I'm flexible. Would you like 8 or 7:30 or 8 AM?
7:30 would be fine.
7:30, okay.
Yeah, I get up plenty early.
7:30 AM. Is that enough time for you to give us an
Yeah.
official meeting? Okay, and we'll just do the audit in those minutes and that'll be cleared up,
Okay.
okay? In the meantime, I'll read it and call you and see if I can remember what I had there.
All right, guys.
How about the sexton?
We evidently have to, get a new sexton. Ours is MIA.
Okay,
I
simple as
can't-
that, huh?
Can't get a hold of him, he won't return my calls. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, well,
So-
let's consider him resigned.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, if anybody has any ideas who might wanna be the sexton, then please let me know.
Can
I
a
thought you were talking to somebody.
Well, I was.
can a
They
cemetery,
don't wanna do it.
can a cemetery committee member be a sexton?
If they wanna be, anybody can be a sexton.
How about,
Danny Day used to be a sexton.
yeah, I remember Danny was a good sexton. Did a good
He
job.
was on the cemetery
So-
committee too.
Yeah. How about Christine Ward?
Suppose she could get cemetery lots and,
Oh,
that's what a sexton
what does
does.
he have to do?
They,
Make sure the hole is dug?
yeah, they have to be
They
there
don't dig the
for,
hole.
for cremations they do,
For cremations, they do?
yeah.
Oh.
They, make sure, verify lots are okay for selling, and they're supposed to work with the cemetery committee about, maintaining the cemeteries and all that good stuff.
How about if we put this to the cemetery committee to see if they have somebody in mind?
Okay,
Maybe a husband of one of the
yeah,
members might do it, or in conjunction with the wife, or, something
Mhm.
like that. 'Cause, I don't have anybody off the top of my head who would actually do it,
yeah.
yeah. How about the cemetery committee? Obviously,
I
they're
don't believe
here.
anybody's here.
Okay. How about roads?
I haven't had anything, has anybody call?
Dahlia Farm Road's all done?
Yep, Dahlia Farm Road
Looks nice
is
too.
complete,
Good.
all paved, the whole 9 yards.
You guys heard anything on roads when you're out there?
No, other than that, the town manager and I are gonna take a survey going around town to find where the
Road
road signs
signs.
need to be replaced.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. All right.
Speaking of road signs, did you resolve Thurlow Road?
Yeah,
You know the spelling?
yeah,
What is it?
it's what's in the deeds. Which is, we've gotta get a new sign.
Just put the old one back.
If I got it, I probably will.
Somebody took it down?
Oh, it's a long story.
Okay.
Spelled wrong?
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it depends
I've
on
got
who you,
it wrong.
it depends on who you ask. It was originally, when I came, it was LOW. And all the maps was LOW, our deeds are LOW,
THURLOW.
Yeah. yeah. But apparently Lois was told, I understand by, I think Amos, that the correct spelling was OUGH.
Right, that's what,
Associated.
that's what Amos thinks.
Yeah. Well, I've seen some real old maps that spelled it that way, but I just figured it was all old spelling, you know what I mean?
Right.
But all the maps, everything I've seen is all.
I mean, and
is
people's
spelled
deeds up there
LOW.
all say OW.
Well, I think that my thought is the 911 think it's THURLOW? I mean,
I didn't check that. I checked the deeds and
If
the
it-
town record, the tax maps. The deeds say one thing and the tax records say something else.
I'd keep it LOW. If your deed says LOW and
Yeah.
everybody else's deed
Yeah.
up there says
We checked all
LOW,
of them, they all say
I think for the-
LOW.
for the
So-
purpose of clarity in the deeds, the name of the road is the name of the road.
Well,
There-
how it came about is somebody's looking to sell up there,
Yeah,
and the realtor called and said, you know, is it LOW or OUGH? And I said, well, that's a good question. And I called Brian.
he
And I
knows the
gave her
answer.
my opinion.
So he told me the story, so then I investigated a little bit, and it always was LOW, and that's what all their deeds say. But somehow down the road, it got changed, and so instead of making these people all go change their deeds.
I was just gonna say, instead of that much, I would rather have the road spelled incorrectly than make people change their deeds.
Yeah,
That sort of thing, that could be a legal issue,
yeah,
really.
yeah, so,
So if everybody's deed says LOW, I would try to stick with that,
right.
put the old sign right back up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, new business, community health and counseling, sent us a thank you letter, I saw that.
Amara was just informational, just to let us know they're looking to do a rate hike.
Yeah, I got the same one. Thank you, Emera.
Okay, so,
Guess I had that letter here, something else to do with it. So community health and counseling sent us a nice thank you letter, and there it is, for our contribution in the amount of $270. So Emera was informational, special town meeting, land use, food sovereignty, and rescue vehicle.
so, Ryan was gonna be here tonight, and we can probably maybe put this off until next Wednesday, and make a decision then
Okay.
about having a special town meeting.
Oh, okay.
He must have been hung up, but
Yeah, if
they're gonna meet tomorrow night. We can't have a special town meeting to do this until they present you a final land use ordinance. No
Right.
changes, something we can put up.
Right.
So, if you wanna table this, I'll have him get a hold of me as to what they've done. And, the food sovereignty is all set to go, just,
Okay.
for the next town
That's
meeting.
gonna go on the special time meeting,
Yeah.
right? Okay,
Yeah, and Chris is gonna talk to you later about the other item.
okay. So we're just gonna table the
Table
land
this-
use?
Yep,
Yep, okay,
table the special town meeting decision until next Wednesday.
okay.
Okay.
We have an estimate here from Will Brown, but I don't see it on
Should be under building inspection, electrical update.
electrical update, sorry about that. Okay, so I'll go right to abatements next then. So would you like me to read these and then we can vote on them all together, or do you want to read these separately, you guys? Have you read the abatements? Have you read the abatements? I'll read them out loud and we can, do you have any questions on that?
But I would think we will probably do them individually, wouldn't it?
Okay, let's do them individually. So I'm gonna read it and then make a motion that, we accept as written. So this one is for Frank Kenny at 2276 Carmel Road North. Tax year is 2017-18. Assessed value was $53,144. He requested an abatement because the trailer was overvalued and stripped out. The abatement total is for $282.27. I make a motion that we accept it as read.
These are the signed ones.
Second?
Second it? Okay.
Is this verified by somebody from the town?
Does Jackie go?
Jackie does these.
Oh.
Jackie
Yes, Jackie
writes
goes and
these up.
does
She
these.
deals with all these people and looks at their taxes and if they feel the property's overvalued or whatever.
Okay.
So, okay, I'll make a motion that we accept the abatement for Frank Kenny
Yeah, that
as
was-
read.
Yeah, and it was seconded, so.
Okay, all in favor? 3-0. This one is for Sandra Johnson. Year is 2017-18. Assessed value looks like 28,525 or 78,525. Abatement requested in real estate valuation. She took it out of tree growth.
Jackie took it out of tree growth by error.
Oh, in error, that's what that says. Taken out of tree growth in error. The abatement is for $832.54. So the property is still in tree growth.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So I'll make a motion that we accept this as written.
Second?
All in favor? 3-0. This one is Mark, does that say Mark Tilly?
Mark Kelly, yeah.
Mark Tilly,
And this is for personal property.
129 Mudgett Road, year 17-18, personal property. There's not really a description, it's just that the personal property valuation has probably been depreciated. The total is $56.52. I make a motion that we accept it as written.
Second?
All in favor? 3-0, so those are all. Those are all done. You wanna talk to us about the Old Town Hall update while we're
Yeah,
signing?
Chuck was just waiting, he couldn't do any more with those guys down there working. They pulled out today, so he should be right after it
Okay,
this weekend. The abandonment of the tanks, everything's done, I had my final inspection by the DEP and should be getting the final paperwork on that.
okay.
Building inspection, electrical upgrade committee and mission statement. I didn't print out that last mission statement, so
Okay,
can we postpone that till next Wednesday
Sure.
too?
sure.
And the electrical, you asked me to get an estimate on.
Yeah, this is the estimate?
Yes.
Let's put an estimate. Can we,
Just points to the direction we should be going with
Yeah.
that place, doesn't it?
yeah. Because make electrical repairs to expose wires, open junction boxes, remove old inactive wires. 20 amp main circuit breaker must be installed in the electrical service before the manual transfer switch per electrical code. Remove the switch splitting for the dryer and the stove circuits. This dryer and the stove are sharing a breaker? Wow. Install a stove circuit.
Self-wired in the kitchen up there.
Install a stove circuit, wow. They're sharing a breaker.
I have a picture of it if you wanna see it.
No, I don't want to see it, so.
Just imagine the crew that was up there.
Inspect every electrical device in the building, replace worn out devices, install ground fault receptacles, check integrity of wire splices and terminations everywhere possible. Label the circuit index correctly. A continually monitored fire alarm system in the building is strongly recommended. Brown's Electric does install a monitored fire alarm system, so it is not included in this estimate. But the estimate for just the things I read was $6,800. Do we have money for that? No, I don't think so.
Well, but we need to know what some of the numbers are, start putting it together.
Yeah,
Cause either we gotta get a committee rolling on it, or we gotta start picking an item one by one,
right,
get an estimate on it, at least an estimate on it, start throwing it together.
right.
I'd like
What
to
are
see
your
some
thoughts?
of that fixed, but
Well, I know, geez, I hate to throw good money after bad, you know?
I know.
If something different's gonna be done with the
Building.
place, then this money is not recoverable.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
I would like to have an estimate of how much it's gonna do to fix all that building inspection. it's gonna easily run up there to the cost, damn near of a new building.
Yeah.
I bet you.
Well,
It's gonna
especially,
have to be a new building pretty much.
right,
Well, either way, you gotta scrap an old building right down to the core,
Yeah.
and some of that has to go, put it all back up, and you still got the old building, basically.
right.
It's gonna have to be made to get by for 5 or 6 years, or better probably.
But that's when we're gonna get into these costs here.
Have you got a building committee put together?
The 4 that I told you.
Yeah? Are you looking for a fifth?
Well,
or-
you guys wanted to do the mission statement, and we are looking for a 5th one, but
Okay,
you wanted to do the mission statement so they knew what their purpose was gonna be.
okay.
2 of them are sitting right here.
Right. We've got the mission statement done.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get that accepted. I think that
Tracy and Gary gonna be on
Tracy Gary, I think that's a great idea.
That'll teach you for showing up late.
Yeah, right.
I shouldn't have come tonight.
I know. Should we pick a couple of things and address it? Are you guys using the dryer and the stove?
Stove's gone.
Stove's gone, okay. So it's just, the dryer's on one breaker by itself now.
it?
Sorta.
Pretty much out of service right now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put nothing into it.
You wouldn't plug anything into it?
What they did was they had a line coming to a 220 plug in the back end. So they spliced into that, made another plug, run a cord up to a box that's in the cupboard. And it's labeled, it's a switch box, and it says dryer and oven. And if you want the dryer, the handle's up,
Oh, wow.
and if you want the
Oh.
yeah.
So we're not using that at all, right?
Negative.
So a lot of this dangerous stuff could be abandoned for at least a little while until we.
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
And they don't use the dryer. The stove we put out to clean up,
Good,
so that's not a,
good, good.
but I know Will wants to get in there and rip that out.
I bet it drives him crazy. It's so against all the rules.
I've got to think if you're doing that, you may as well start right from scratch. Just wire the whole thing.
I wouldn't wanna do, I mean, could we at least, close up the open boxes, you guys? We have,
I would think
we have
that,
exposed wires and open junction boxes.
right, exposed
Per the
wires,
inspection, but when he gets up there, he don't know what else he's gonna find.
Yeah.
A lot of that's upstairs too.
I mean, he just showed a picture in there, you know, and of a box laying in the thing, but there could be 5 of them, there could be 10 of them.
Yeah.
You guys don't really need power anyway, do you?
She was generating this season.
Right, yeah.
So,
Good lord.
start parking the fire trucks outside.
Well, I was gonna say maybe the investment ought to be in the fire alarm.
Yes. True.
Fine,
Maybe the
flexible,
first
yeah.
grant ought to be for a new building. The first application ought to be for a building. I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, we want
I
to
think the
address
only
it
way
now,
you
or?
You're gonna know how much it's gonna cost, is you have to go down through each and every item and have an estimate made by someone.
Right. Well, I'm just talking about if we,
What do you wanna fix now?
what do we want to fix now? Should we try to fix the exposed wires and the open?
The bare wires?
Are those the worst
Open
case?
junction boxes? No, there's a lot of extra wire that's probably ought to be replaced, but that's still a piece of wire,
Right.
protected, hopefully. Unless some of these critters we have living up there keep eating on it or
Yeah.
something, but.
That could start a fire right there. Critter eating on open
You've
wires.
got more fire issues in a fire station than you ought to have.
I know. It's awful. Did you guys
You know, I think a lot of the bulk of that cost is the part you're talking about anyway. I mean, to replace a junction box here, it's probably not that much, but covering up, going into that,
Yeah,
Right.
and like Brian said, throwing good after bad.
what kind of money do we have, Cindy, available?
Not that kind of money.
Not that kind of
And we're
money.
early in the year.
Yeah, I know.
We're $2,000 for, what do we put, $800 in something for the, I don't have my
So, yeah, it's-
budget with me, but, I mean, if we took all the building money, there's 2,000 for just general buildings, there's
Right.
1,000 for this building. I believe there's 800 or 18 something for the fire station itself.
Wow.
That won't even rate the light bulbs.
No. No,
And there are, if I may, there are some things that are more, I mean, that's obviously pressing, but that's been going on for years. There's some light bulbs down there, there's an exit sign, things that BLS came in, they'd immediately point out,
mhm.
and then be fines on top of that potentially.
Yeah, I fixed the one over one door, and now
Right.
Chris tells me the other one's not working, the exit's up, so.
Oh, Lord.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
It's a big quandary to me. We can
Nothing.
fix everything small.
You can't.
And we haven't
Yeah.
had the furnaces serviced yet for the winter, and
Yeah.
so. We don't have a lot of money to work with.
I don't think there's no way you could get a building designed in a month to be able to sign up for the AFG
No,
grant.
we're talking, geez, at least a year, I'd say.
Yeah.
If you started today.
Yeah, if you get
Yeah.
a committee together and by the time you decide what approach to take and put it to a vote, I'm saying at least a year before you can just get started.
You
Maybe
either have
that's
to
a
figure out
consideration the
if
committee would
that
have to
building,
Right,
take,
we,
you know,
if, maybe we should task the committee after they take a look, have some time and, get a design and get an estimate on a design, that kind of thing. I mean, I think that's probably a smart thing to do. That isn't even talking about the trusses laying on the top of the roof and,
Right.
there's a lot of things going on there.
but the only way you're gonna find out the right way is to take your building, find out how much they're gonna to replace that, this, that, and something else.
Right.
And then we have to go see somebody like Jeff Brown or any,
Right,
steel
somebody.
contractor,
Yep,
find out how much he'll put a steel building up for.
right,
And then see how close those numbers are.
right.
If those walls are actually rotten on the bottom third of them, that's all the structure of that whole building.
Right, that's the structure of the building.
Right.
That's what I said, that's not even mentioning those new trusses laying
You're
on
laying
them.
on that, not
Yeah,
right, all of
right.
that.
Yeah. New trusses laying in the wrong spot, putting weight on the outside of that other
well,
one.
we've got a usable foundation now, right,
Where?
up there.
Oh, well, yeah, they patched the hole they cut out of it,
They filled the tanks.
filled the tanks, she's nice and sturdy, she's not going anywhere.
I think Jeff still has that plan that he and I presented years ago too. He can easily come up, with a square
'Cause if-
footage,
If we
basic
just,
square footage price in like
if
2
we
minutes.
just replace what we have there, basically it's a garage.
Mhm.
You need a new a new building.
No
We've got-
office space.
We've got offices
He
here.
had done a phased building, because at the time we didn't have this yet.
Right,
And so he had done it so it could be built in like 2 or 3 phases, the firehouse and then adding on the community center and the
Mhm.
offices kind of thing.
right.
But, if you've got just that,
Because right now, what we'd really
No.
like to have is, what we really need is an adequate building just to house the
Right.
trucks.
yeah.
And,
So if you
Material.
just had a square footage price, he can calculate it in like 2 seconds
Right.
and just give you the,
Right,
Well,
you know,
he told
base.
me, I gave him a copy of that inspection to see if he'd give me, an estimate on a new building.
right.
And, he hadn't had time to do that, but he did tell me, one of his questions was, don't you have room for the offices up here? Because once you start putting offices in a building like
Yeah,
that,
it-
that's when the money goes.
It has to
Right,
be
you do.
egress, right, because it's a public, it's
Right.
considered all
Your
that stuff.
office space, and you gotta
Right.
have this, and you gotta have that. If
Right.
it's just a barn, to house the trucks,
Right,
he told me it'd be around $350,000.
right.
I think, I think it'd be important, I sort of find what Tracy's saying about the phasing in, seems to be a good idea, because, yeah, right now we just need a place for the trucks to go,
Yeah,
but if, Brian talked about regionalization and growing the building, if you're gonna have a live-in program, where, where apartments have a living program, you're gonna have somewhere for them to sleep,
Well,
and all that kind of stuff.
you could do that with this, you could plan for a building,
Right.
and let's say I'll just use it just for an example, on the north end, we've got a door right in the center, so on the north end, there's room for future expansion.
Right,
You know,
yeah.
that sort of thing.
Mhm. But, I think you also wanna make sure that you're not building it just for what we need right this very second.
Right.
I mean, if you go to the Herman Fire Station, the moment they backed their truck into that station, it was already smaller than what they needed.
How deep is that fire station up there? How deep are if you put back 2 trucks, nose to tail right in there?
60 feet.
60 feet?
60, 80, I'd have to measure it to be exact, but I would say you'd be pretty close to 60,
Yeah, it'd have to be, because you can put the tanker in there, and the brush truck used to
The
sit
brush
on
behind
that,
it, yeah.
and the whole kitchen area, eating
Right.
area would be on that. So
Right.
it's gotta be
But it's not.
at least 60, if not more than that.
How long is it, do you think? 60 feet deep, how long do you think it is?
2 12-foot garage doors, maybe?
Is what, how many
Plus,
garage doors you got across the front now? 2 or 4?
It's
4?
4 and a
4.
14 foot. Oh, they should be.
So that's
14 foot.
48, so it's probably 50-something feet long across the front?
Right.
of course, 2 bays only go 3/4 of the way
Right,
deep, but it's
right.
a pretty big building, it's probably not big enough.
Right.
If we could get a steel building up and get the garage bays functional, and just leave the back part of it, or back corner of it, open for the time being,
Right.
until you could get into the live-in firefighter, or,
We
One
could
of
easily
those
have an
things.
area that's left unfinished,
like,
mezzanine above for proper storage, like big stairs and railings and all weighted, rated and for your weight and stuff like that. But,
I'd like to see that, but I don't know if we could ever afford that.
what?
A new station, just about like that.
build it.
Yeah.
It's gonna, I still swear it's gonna take a lot of money to fix that old station.
Oh, I'm guessing 150 to 2,000. If the bottom third is rotted all the way around that building, you've got weight issues, you've got, the
Okay.
whole thing is made of, you probably have to rewire it. And remodeling is a lot more expensive than building brand new.
Mhm.
I'd rather spend 350, have a brand new building set up, than spend 150, 200,000 trying to fix that one.
It's just,
Cause it's been cobbled together for years
Yes.
upon years. I was up there 15 and I watched it.
yeah. I agree.
And it was going on before my time, and it went on even worse after I left there.
So do you wanna just see if what this committee comes up with?
Yeah.
Okay, let them have a try at it.
I'd like to have them, if you get your 5th person, Are you,
I spoke to Lisa, I think Lisa might do it.
because would like try to, I don't wanna commit to the committee themselves, because I don't wanna give my opinion, but I wouldn't mind going over and sitting down and meeting with them a couple of times, you know.
So if we can, do that mission statement next Wednesday.
Yeah.
And then I'll talk to everybody and schedule the first meeting
Right.
of the building committee,
Right.
Right,
so.
yeah. Hey, good point, that if Lisa were on the committee, and for Jeff to bid on it, would that be a conflict, or is the committee not choosing the,
The committee won't choose the contractor, the board will.
okay.
It's probably something that size we would probably have to put out to bid anyway, to be honest.
And if
We
there's
could
any
do a
grant
select-
money involved, you'll have to too.
Right, if there's grant money involved, yeah. There'd be a select list, but you probably have to put it out
Yep.
a little bit to,
Yep.
to do that. So, good point.
But there is there's.
And just even the appearance of,
I totally get
pushing
it.
forward, hey, we might want to get a new building, and then on the
Yeah,
other side,
yeah.
And Lisa's there more for the grant
I was
purposes.
gonna
Right.
say, she's interested in
more
the
of a-
grant part of it,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, well, let's give that electrical update and estimate to the building committee as soon as we get it together. I'm sure you have a, file started for that. And the sand shed is all done, you've already said that, Dahlia Farm culvert's all done,
Yep.
100%. Okay, and that's the end of the agenda.
Chris doesn't wanna speak to you in executive
Yeah,
session.
I was gonna say, why don't, you guys want to, recess and go to an executive session for a few minutes?
Mhm.
Okay, so I'll make a motion, it is just about 7 o'clock even. We recess and go to executive session. So who's gonna second it?
Oh, that was a motion, second?
Yes. I'll make- All in favor? Okay. I'm a little off.